You are walking through life with your emotional gates left wide open. A careless word from a stranger ruins your morning. A sudden, unexpected change in your schedule sparks a wave of intense anxiety. Someone disrespects you, and immediately a surge of anger takes over your mind, dictating your actions. You are operating like a puppet, and the entire world is holding your strings. Society profits from your reactivity. The media, the algorithms, and the toxic individuals in your life all feed on your emotional volatility. They want you outraged, fearful, and impulsive, because a mind that cannot regulate its own weather is a mind that is effortlessly controlled. But thousands of years ago, the Stoic philosophers engineered the ultimate rebellion. They discovered that true, unadulterated power does not come from conquering the external world. It comes from establishing absolute, unshakable sovereignty. They realized that when you learn to govern your emotions, you become a ghost to the chaos around you. You become emotionally untouchable. People will attempt to provoke you, and their efforts will shatter against your silence. Circumstances will try to crush you, and you will remain deeply rooted in your own peace. Here are 9 Stoic habits that can help rewire your emotional architecture. This is not a guide on how to suppress your feelings. It's a practice in emotional command, learning how to feel deeply without ever letting those feelings sit in the driver's seat of your life. The discipline of the sacred pause. Your greatest vulnerability is your reaction time. When an insult lands or a sudden crisis emerges, your biological instinct demands an immediate response: to lash out, to defend yourself, or to panic. In that microscopic fraction of a second, your emotions are attempting a hostile takeover. To become emotionally untouchable, train yourself to stretch that fraction of a second into a deliberate pause. When someone tries to humiliate you, don't fire back. When an email brings bad news, don't immediately type a frantic reply. Freeze. Take a slow, measured breath. This pause isn't hesitation, it's psychological command. By forcing a gap between the stimulus and your reaction, you sever the world's ability to puppet your behavior. You observe the anger rising in your chest as a witness, not a participant. Master the pause, and you strip the chaos of its urgency. Divorce your ego from the event. Most emotional agony is manufactured by your own ego. When a relationship fails or a deal collapses, the event itself is rarely what destroys your peace. It's the story you attach to it. The Stoic mind operates like a clean mirror. It reflects reality without distorting it. If someone is rude, an untouchable mind recognizes that the rudeness reflects their chaos, not your value. Practice objective observation. Strip away the dramatic language you use to describe your life. Instead of, "This disaster is ruining my life," try, "A challenge has occurred and I must navigate it." When you separate your identity from external events, you stop bleeding emotional energy. The universe isn't conspiring against you, it's simply unfolding, and your duty is to meet it with a calm, unbattered spirit. Erect borders against emotional contagion. Emotions are highly contagious. You can't maintain an untouchable mind while leaving your doors wide open to toxic emotional influence. Become a ruthless auditor of your environment. Notice how you feel after interacting with certain people. Establish clear boundaries. Guard your mental bandwidth the way you'd guard your finances. When you stop absorbing the panicked frequencies of the crowd, your own baseline naturally rises toward calm. The daily surrender of expectations. Frustration is the collision between your rigid expectations and an unpredictable reality. You expect people to be fair, your hard work to be rewarded, traffic to flow smoothly. And every time reality breaks the script in your head, you experience an emotional crash. Frustration is the collision between your rigid expectations and an unpredictable reality. You expect people to be fair, your hard work to be instantly rewarded, and traffic to flow smoothly. Every time reality breaks the script in your head, you experience an emotional crash. The ancient philosophers understood that expecting the world to bend to your preferences is a recipe for misery. Practice radical acceptance. Wake up each morning and remind yourself that people will be difficult and plans will fall apart. When you accept the chaotic nature of the world before you step out the door, You remove the element of surprise. Modern culture tells you to run from negative emotions, to numb sadness or distract from anger. But all emotion, even the darkest kind, is raw energy. A weak mind lets anger burn down its own house. A resilient mind captures that same energy and redirects it into something constructive. Use the sting of rejection to fuel your next project. Use the heat of anger to power through a workout. Finally, stop fighting a future that hasn't happened. You agonize over losing a job you still have, or a conversation that hasn't taken place. Anxiety is largely the act of living in a future that doesn't exist. Stop arguments with reality and start maneuvering through it. Anchor your mind to the present. When overthinking begins, pull your awareness back to physical reality, your breath, the objects in front of you. Ask yourself, is there a tangible threat happening in this exact second? The answer is almost always no. By refusing to fight imaginary battles with the future, you conserve mental clarity for the real challenges of today. Master internal validation. Your stability will always be fragile if it depends on other people's approval. If a compliment lifts you to the clouds, an insult will drag you to the floor. Don't let the crowd set your worth. Measure yourself against your own character. Did you act with integrity today? Did you maintain your discipline? If yes, that's a successful day, regardless of whether anyone noticed. When you stop needing external recognition, criticism becomes noise rather than a verdict on your worth. Practice voluntary stillness. We live in constant distraction, reaching for phones the moment boredom or sadness appears. Resilience requires intimacy with your own mind. If you're always running from internal noise, it will keep chasing you. Set aside at least 10 minutes a day for quiet stillness. No screens, no music, no distractions. Let your thoughts rise to the surface. Look honestly at your fears, insecurities, and buried resentments. Facing them quietly, without trying to drown them out, slowly drains them of their power. You prove to yourself that your own mind is a safe place to be, and once you're comfortable there, the noise of the outside world has far less power to disturb your peace. When you're in the heat of a frustrating moment, a delayed flight, a rude comment, a lost opportunity, it feels monumental because your perspective has shrunk to the size of the annoyance. The antidote is a wider lens. When you feel your emotions starting to boil over, zoom out. Will this argument matter in 12 months? Will this mistake be remembered in a decade? Will this inconvenience matter at the end of your life? When you hold daily frustrations up against the scale of an entire lifetime, they shrink into near insignificance. That leaves you free to reserve your energy, intensity, and care for the things that actually matter in the long run.